Welcome back. You're still watching Nile Cruise on Nile TV International and the very special episode from the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization. And I'm honored to be having with me today on Nile Cruise Mr. Mohamed Waheed, the conservation specialist at the museum. Thank you very much for being with us today.
You are welcome here in our museum, the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization, the biggest museum of civilization in the world, almost the world. And I would like to thank you to introduce me in this meeting. Thanks.
Anytime.
Of course, sir, it's a pleasure to have you with us. Sir, could you define conservation specialist at the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization?
Yes. In our National Museum of Egyptian Civilization, we have a great center of restoration and a great conservation center here. And we have a very unique stuff to conserve and restore all the kind of the monuments from prehistory to the present time. On the head of this center, Dr. Manal Abdelmanam, the general manager of the restoration center in our NEMIC. In our NEMIC here, we have, I think, a 12 center of conservation according to the materials of the artifacts. We have a center of conservation of stones, heavy stones and small stones, heavy or big wood and small wood artifacts. Also, the pottery conservation center, textile conservation center, and so on.
Yes. So there are different parts of the conservation
Yes.
center. Which one do you belong to?
Me. I am a conservator and the manager of the receiving artifacts unit. This unit responsible for backing and unpacking and the transportation of all the kind of the materials of artifacts. I think till now we have moved, I think, 30,000 over 30,000 monuments from many kinds of museum in Cairo and also from Upper Egypt, from areas of antiquities which stored in it. And also I am responsible for the conservation center of pottery in Zanzibar.
Sir, what are the most, of course, what are the eras and artifacts that need most of your attention and effort?
When we talk about the artifacts in Egypt, or when you talk about the ancient Egyptian artifacts, every type of artifacts, from the small one to the biggest one, like the pyramids, all of them have a story and have words tell us what they doing in the ancient eras. In my mind and my specific specific work in my museum, I would like to tell that the pottery monuments and the glasses monuments.
So the most important part of your job is to be packing the monuments and the artifacts and to be responsible for unpacking them.
Yes.
When it comes to be showing or to be
Yes.
on display in the museum. How does it go when it comes to be dealing with an artifact like Horus, for example, a different artifact like the door from the Islamic civilization, another artifact from a different civilization like from the Roman and the Greek eras, a statue, for example. How different is it to be dealing with each artifact?
In our center here of backing and unpacking, we have a great group working in with small tools, and in sometimes we provided it with a huge tools used in the backing area. I want to tell that this matter going with like a journey. For example, when we want to move an object from Egyptian Museum in Tahrir to our NEMIC, we're going as a group of work and making an condition report. And from this condition report, you can taking off the condition of the artifact and going with a suitable materials and packing it and put it in a suitable boxes from wood, and also moving it to the museum, to the center of artifacts unit in the unpacking area. And from this time we can going to put it in the a unique center to isolate it by nitrogen, and taking it from the isolation to the centers of restoration.
So your job is not just about the museum or not being here at the museum all the time. You have to be going to Luxor, for
Yes.
example,
Yes.
for Aswan,
Yes.
for the museum in Tahrir Square. Which artifact was the hardest to be packing from its site and transferring it here to the
In every
museum?
time the heavy artifacts,
The heavy
one,
ones.
yes, the heavy one by made it by the rocks and the stones, and also inorganic materials such as textiles. One, this is
Have to be very delicate
yes,
when it comes to
very
dealing with
very
that.
fine, and that I mentioned before. And before you can by looking to it, it can destroy by looking.
This was a joke, huh?
Yes.
Okay, sir. Does the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization establish cooperation in conservation in the conservation field with other foreign and Arab museums?
Yes, yes, of course.
In which way?
I prepare cooperation protocol between our museum and the National Museum in Al Bahrain, and we have already in Egypt. In Egypt, we have already a protocol, cooperation protocol between the Academic Research Center and also the IFAO, Institute of Archaeological Center, IFAO, and also we have a cooperation preparing it with National Museum in Azerbaijan, National Museum of Bahrain, National Museum of Cyprus, and so on.
Mhm. Speaking about the heavy artifacts, which one was the heaviest when it came to be dealing with and transferring it to the museum?
After we finish this interview, I can show you the heavy artifacts that we bought in the core of the center core of the exhibition here.
Mhm.
You can imagine what the difficult in it in Egyptian Museum in Tahrir. They was bought in from many years, and we move it in a difficult times, a difficult move because of the
Traffic.
showcases. Yes, traffic.
Yes.
Also traffic showcases in Tahrir Museum. And when we reach here, also we buy carefully. We bought it from the unit belong to the below, and put it in the core of the exhibition.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Go-
Go.
Your turn.
No, like.
The mummies of the ancient Egyptians,
Ahmed,
like
you're
Ramses. This
obsessed
is
by
the first
mummies,
time
yeah.
that I've
This-
asked him.
This episode.
This is the first question about the mummies this time around.
First question.
With him.
with him.
Yes.
Without him, yes.
This is the first question, right?
Yes.
Ahmed is
I'll be
obsessed
having
by-
different
Yes.
questions
Ahmed is
about the
obsessed
mummies.
by
Amazing.
mummies, huh?
About ancient Egypt in specific or in
Mummies,
general. Yes.
mummies.
Well, you can have another question about anything else.
I bet you I will.
Yes. So, how would you pack something like that?
In the center of the backing of the mummies, the head of the center, Mr. Mustafa Ismail and his group, I think he discovered a new way to the backing of the mummies, and I think it is the first in the world that they do it, and you can discover it when they move from the Tahrir Square to our Namek by backing with nitrogen.
Mhm.
I don't to go to the details in this
Yes.
matter because of this is a discover for this group,
Mhm.
and they will come and talk with you also in this matter of
Yes.
backing of it. Yes.
Sir, of course, the museum will contain artifacts from different eras, which puts a big responsibility on the conservation center of the museum. What are the tasks assigned to the conservation department in the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization?
In the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization, here we are different because of we have all the kind of the materials, not stones like the gem or grand stones like gem, not like the textile museum, but we have all the kind of the materials from prehistory to the till now. Okay, from this way, according the type to the types of the materials, we have a 12 restoration center to all the kind of this. We have a unique stuff. Okay.
So, speaking about the artifacts that are here in the National Museum for Egyptian Civilization, which one inspired you the most? Because you're dealing with thousands of artifacts, like you said, 30,000, 50,000
yes,
artifacts
yes.
over the years. Which one caught your eye during your time here at the museum?
I remember that I have. It's also honor for me that from I have. Yeah, I am the head of the this unit. It's an honor for me to touch and handle thousands of
Yes.
types. Yes, of
Every artifact.
yes.
Yes.
What are you imagine in this kind? We handle it
Mhm.
from the tiny one to the big one.
I even saw combs
Yes.
and hair combs.
Everyone have a stamp in my heart.
Mm.
This is every one of these artifacts have a special nature, have a special case, have a special story that we going to take it. No, we love it, not to
Mhm.
take.
Mhm.
Okay, sir. Ancient Egyptians made significant developments in the extraction of metals, especially especially copper and gold. How is this used in their lives?
I think is ancient Egyptian craftsmen or ancient Egyptian people um, not thinking about how they can doing the civilization or the Egyptian civilization by small tools coming from the mountain. The mountains contain the fragments of metals such as copper and gold. But when we talk about the copper, they made a lot of instruments, a lot of measurements, a lot of bottles, a lot of things that they use in the daily life of their life. Also, we have a very unique collection from the copper and also from the gold in our core of the exhibition.
Yes, here at the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization, we have technology in every department, even when it comes to be showcasing the artifacts and telling the story of each monument. How did technology help in terms of transferring the artifacts from different places in Egypt to here at the museum easily and faster than before?
As we see here, we have the pyramid museum, and also here we just not tell about this is artifacts, talking about its information, not it, but by using the modern technology, by using size tablets and slight motions, and if you have the circle show. This is also unique here in our museum, and also we are different from this kind of technology that helps us not also show the artifacts but tell what's the behind the artifacts.
Yes.
Okay, sir, the Egyptians developed a writing surface from the papyrus, plant, of course, and used naturally occurring inorganic salts as paint pigments. How did this make a great difference in the history of the human civilization?
The Egyptian, ancient Egyptian people discovered the writing not to write but to document everything they doing to to take it to the other world. But by the thinking about how we can taking our life dearly, like today is that
Sir,
we have
sorry to interrupt you. Is this ورق البردي?
whatever Hmm?
ورق البردي.
papyrus whatever.
I was translating to our viewers.
Speaking about the latest artifacts that you've worked on, which one, the latest artifacts that you've worked on and you
Yes.
transferred from another place, which were they?
Nowadays, we work with my group here, my friends here in about conservators, in a unique collection from the excavation from El Fustat, containing about some pottery, some glasses, some stamps, belongs to the Fatimic period. And we have also finished most of the collections from ceramic and pottery, and show it in the showcases in the.
So the most recent one was from the Islamic era.
Yes.
Why don't we hear about that more often than the ancient
You will-
Egyptians?
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
we're always hearing
Because,
about the ancient
focus
Egyptians.
on the Egyptian.
Yes.
Yes, because of the Islamic one, we focus it in the Islamic museum.
Mhm.
But here in our museum, we have a unique collection also from the Islamic and show it in a different way. We have types of wood and types of glasses called the mishka, and also we have a unique collection from daily life in Islamic. Yes.
Sir, what does the museum showcase in the field of chemistry and physics of ancient Egyptians?
Ancient Egyptian people, in fact, discovery more of tools and more of materials and more of kind of materials in chemistry, such as in mummification of the mummy. And I think I remember, we moved a collection from a tomb above Hatshepsut temple, I think above 1 kilo in the mountain. They were by excavation by, I think, the Germany mission here, and we moved. This is a workshop about the mummification tools. And in physically, we have here measurements and some tools also will be useful in the physical one.
Yes. The idea of having the NEMIC, or the Museum of Egyptian Civilization, was about founded from the 1980s in 1983 or 1984, and right now in 2020 we are about to be inaugurating the first phase, or the first exhibition hall. How excited are you about such an idea?
Very, very excited.
How many
Because-
years have you been here?
Because if you have a tower in the
Yes.
in the core, you will start from the cave, from the prehistory and the end to the present time. This kind of show, this kind of the exhibition, different from any exhibition in Egypt and out of Egypt. So it will be a very excited and will be a very unique exhibition that help the visitors and that connect the present time to the civilization, or to the Egyptian civilization.
Okay, sir. What are the preparations for the transfer and receiving of the and conservation, of course, of the mummies? And what are the royal mummies that are gonna be?
She's asking about the mummies now.
Yes, I'm taking over you.
Yes, this is. So I asked one question about the mummies, and this is the first for hers. You should be counting.
Royal mummies and royal mimes.
Yes.
First, no. First, how are we gonna be taking care of them when we're going to be transferring them, the preparations for the transfer, receiving and conservation of these mummies, and of course, what are the royal mummies that are going to be transferred?
The royal mummies here will conserve and unpacking in a huge center of conservation of it was prepared to receiving this unique of royal mummies. As we know, there is no royal mummies in the world like in Egypt, and in Egypt we have it in the Nemec. And as we see here, we can go through and see the huge exhibition
Underground.
yes,
Yes.
the underground, and not just a mummies, but the mummy is such as Ramses the second and its object, not the mummy only.
Mr. Mohamed Waheed, conservation specialist at the National Museum of Egyptian Civilization. We thank you so much for joining
you.
us today in today's episode of Nile Cruise. Ahmed Deder, I'm very sorry for asking about mummies in this segment.
I will be asking once again about the mummies.
And
Every
the
segment.
viewers, you're still watching Nile Cruise. Stay with
Thank
us. We'll be back again.